is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Playoffs? First week of the playoffs. Dude, I am on Struggle City personally. I don't know about you. The only league I was mentioning before the show that I am winning is the one where I'm in the dumpster bowl trying not to be the worst guy in the league. And I'm winning that with a record score. So is life. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, my playoffs, they're not bad. I'm losing one that I thought I would win. But other than that, I'm in all the other ones. I'm up in most of them. The other players still, other teams got one or two players left, but I'm up. I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance that I move on in Bourbon Bowl. It's going to be real close. I'm surprised with that. I thought I was going to get annihilated, but I mean, there's a chance. I mean, that's all you can hope for, right? Is a
So
chance.
you're saying there's a chance.
That's all you really hope for going into this. You're not
Ironically,
getting blown out. You're still up. Telling me there's a chance, man. That's all you can hope for in the playoffs.
now I got to go look like I have a couple those teams that are on bye. And that's the guy. Oh, I want you to beat that guy.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Dude, my team, I'm glad I didn't play this week. Holy moly. Oh, it's because I didn't change my roster. I didn't change my lineup. I had Lamar on the bench. I was like, why did my team do so bad? Oh, Lamar's on my bench with his gajillion points. But yeah, I didn't pay attention to those yet. Let's see where we're looking. Oh, they got updates on the Fantasy Couriers podcast right now. Currently, it looks like they need to update some things. So we'll keep you all updated. We were ahead, and I was trying to look at their roster as if they might have had someone just go crazy, or it's not loading right now. But yeah, I'll have that up before we get done with the show, and we'll go from there. So JJ Wang, let's enough baloney here. I think we should just jump on in to the week. Okay, dude.
All right. I didn't kind of hear that. I didn't hear that very well. So
Sorry, I forgot to share it. I didn't do it should be a share screen thing I do, and I am all kinds of wonky. It's been a
it's all
long,
good.
long
I'll just
weekend.
go ahead and start.
Go for it.
So my first question I have for you so going into next season, who are you taking with your first pick? I say it's a super flex league. Are you taking the first quarterback? Are you taking Josh Allen? Are you taking Lamar Jackson? Both of these
Ooh,
guys are absolutely murdering it right now. Um, Josh Allen's been like the number one guy the last 5 years, never disappoints. Lamar Jackson, he's been, you know, a legitimate quarterback who's absolutely killing it this year. Probably another MVP, even though Josh Allen is coming on strong. Both of them are playing at the top of their level. Who are you taking going into the next season as your number one quarterback?
it's still Josh Allen. I think Lamar's had a stellar year. Josh Allen's been consistent. I'm going to go with the consistent guy. I mean, we're splitting hairs. I'm not going to get either of them because once again, we say we don't generally draft quarterbacks that early. But I mean, would you say both those guys probably will be in? Or did you super flex? There could be 1, 2. In
Oh yeah,
standard,
I mean,
would they be third rounders if not earlier?
yeah, yeah, it depends. I mean, depends on how early you want to take quarterback. I mean, if you want to go, I mean, they're going to be the first quarterbacks taken. I mean, third round, absolutely. I mean, if that's where you want to, that's where you want to go. But yeah, I think I'm still taking Josh Allen. He's just been the model of consistency the last 4 years. He's been like the number one guy, number two guy this year, just because Lamar is absolutely blowing up. But these
Especially after
last few
today.
weeks, yeah, these last few weeks, Allen has been just an absolute on a roll. He started off kind of slow. If not for that, I mean, he could possibly be the number one guy as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And live update because as we're recording, Casey is in updating the brackets. They're a spreadsheet they got to use because we're all different things. We currently have 115.56 with Josh Jacobs to go. He has 90.16 with Jalen Reed to go. I am feeling really good, dude. I'm
Yeah,
feeling really good.
I'm pretty confident the way Josh Jacobs playing. I feel like that's I won't say count it as a victory because you know how that kind of stuff goes.
Yeah.
But feeling pretty confident.
So he was literally updating it as I was in there. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. So Fantasy Couriers, we will be down to the final four of Fantasy
Oh
Turf
man,
Wars out of
that's
64
all you can
teams.
ask. Yeah, like I said, that's all you
Bam.
can ask for is
That's
to be
awesome.
there. So speaking of disappointments, I haven't really talked about this guy a whole lot this year. Jonathan Taylor, it hasn't really been the guy. Been very disappointing to go along with the previous 2 seasons. It's been just a bad years. Are we trying to get out on Jonathan Taylor? Trying to maybe trade him for name value? And maybe getting somebody like Chase Brown. Would that be possible?
Yeah, I would do it. I've got him in a couple leagues. My team, I think I have Chase Brown and Taylor. I don't know, but I would move him. I mean, to me, today's call where he should have had the touchdown was it's one of those rinky-dink semantics things that just drives me a little bonkers. Like, really, you go to the tape, he's about 3 inches before the line when the ball falls out of his hand. And he's like, I hate those kind of just stupid common sense touchdown calls like that. That's a touchdown. Let's just not be dumb here. Like, sure, yes. He shouldn't have been that cocky that close, but he was this close to the end zone when he dropped the ball. It went out of the back of the like. Nobody was within 15 yards of the dude or 10 yards, whatever it was. Like that was baloney. But yeah, no, I think it's if you can sell. I mean, you're gonna sell him for what quarters on the dollar, give or take. But I'd sell him for Chase Brown, maybe. Who else? Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think of another young guy who might not have as big of a name. Um,
Maybe what about maybe like a Bucky Irving?
Oh, I can't give Bucky Irving. I want to give Bucky Irving so bad because you can play the. He's gonna still be in a committee because they can't get rid of White.
Yeah.
But that guy, the more I watch Bucky Irving, he might be. He's probably already preseason one of my top five. What do we call our guys?
I
What do you?
guess.
No, that's the you had a fancy name for us, man. We're so professional here.
Uh,
But he's one of my guys. Like next year,
oh,
just because
top
the
guy,
more I
maybe
watch.
top guy,
Top
top
guys,
guy.
Harry, top guys. Yeah, and you had a fancy name because we didn't want to steal the ones from the ballers. But yeah, no, but because the more you hear, like this dude is a worker. He's in. He might be in some days with or right before Baker. He's going. He's putting in the work. I could see Rashad White just being nothing next year with the work that Irving's putting in at this point in the year. I'm so excited for Bucky Irving. I just don't have any Bucky Irving. I'm to redraft the crap out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I got him in one league. That's about the only league I got him in. But yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, like I said, started off strong. And then hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's been hurt. He's played more games this year than last year. But you thought with Anthony Richardson playing, they'd be a little more of a run dominant team, but it just has not happened at all. Do you think he can get back to where he was, or is he just more of just a guy?
I think you can. I mean, we're bashing the dude that ran for 4.9 yards per carry and 107 yards today. So but he's just been as a season's whole, it's been disappointing. Like today, if he had had
Yeah.
that touchdown, dude, that'd have been a stellar week. So it's a knucklehead thing. But I mean, he's down. He's not. I mean, to me, he's still probably. He's gonna fall 10 off top, like I'll do my rankings. He's still an RB1, I think, by the skin of his teeth. If he's not RB1, he's like number 13.
I mean, I think he's still an RB1 just for the fact that they really don't have a backup.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still going to get all the work. But let's say they were to draft somebody that might put like maybe a little bit of, you know, doubt in your mind, being like, hey, maybe this guy's not who we thought he was. So maybe be a little disturbing there. Definitely one of the more disappointing players of the season.
yeah, that's an intriguing thing.
So speaking of disappointing, one of your guys, Will Levis, is Will Levis's starting career possibly over?
Are we? I was watching the end of the game with Mason Rudolph playing and going. We were a week and a half ago from saying Will Levis, they're going to give him another year. What was it? Four? What was the total number? Three interceptions and a fumble or two fumbles? It was like I don't know, especially against that porous. Like the Bengals defense is miserable. So three
Yeah.
interceptions, and a fumble. Yeah, but I don't know. Like it's not Mason Rudolph. So unless they if they draft a quarterback, yeah, It depends on because the team has so many holes that will they do another year? Will they try to get Dion's kid?
So if let's say they don't, would they be interested? Maybe somebody like Darnold.
I knew it. That's gonna be our go-to all off season, isn't it? Like, yes, heck yeah, I would. I mean, if you look at the pieces, Pollard has looked pretty good. His numbers weren't great today, but I mean, he's been a consistent back. Sharp's a good change of pace, so eventually you have to replace them. You got Chig, who's starting to figure out some things. Then Ridley's not terrible. He's getting a little older, so they do need a second. They need to draft a young receiver, but there's so many holes in that team that I just don't know if they want some dude to get beaten up. I mean, they will. Like, I think they will because of where they're at. But I'd rather, if I was a Titans fan, I would want, because I would rather have a lineman this year and then draft a second or third round quarterback and see if Will Levis has it another year with. But some of the plays have just been terrible. Like, he looks great.
But I mean, do you want to go the route of drafting another second or third round quarterback? I mean, that's what you did with Levis. I mean, Levis was a second round quarterback. It didn't
Yeah.
work out. I mean, were you willing to go that route again, or
Well, I mean, they're going to draft. It's just a warm body, so it could. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I would run it back with Levis, Rudolph. Maybe sign a Darnold, sign a Carson Wentz is probably a free agent. He can't be any worse than Will Levis. There's guys around that could fill those holes that like. I still think they're years away from competing. I mean, NFL, so what 3 years get fill some middle of alignment. Maybe they trade away Ridley because he's older in that contract to get a couple pieces. I don't know, but they got a lot of work to do, and he didn't help his cause this week. He's looked good.
absolutely?
He's looked okay the last month that we thought he saved his job.
All right, three more quarterbacks that drafted in the same year, pretty high. They've been a bit of a disappointment. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson. Well, we know the story with Bryce Young. He's been a disappointment his whole career. Starting to play a little better. He didn't play great today, but I mean, he's playing better. C.J. Stroud, definitely disappointing this year. Not nearly what we thought he was going to be. Anthony Richardson, we know Anthony, you're not a fan of him at all. How close is it between these three guys?
Richardson's played better, right?
I mean, he's played better,
Better-ish.
but I mean, he's
I'm
so
still not
he's
a
so
guy.
he's so up and down. I mean,
Bryce
it's
Young
kind of
just
hard.
crapped the bed. He came back to earth today, and C.J. Stroud. I mean, he really wasn't that like that's it. That's been he did what like I was talking to someone recently. They go, "Whoa, you were right about like," and I preluded by I love C.J. Stroud. He's one of my favorite humans in the NFL right now. Like I've got him on a team, and you got to give me your soul to trade for him. But he's not been that good,
He's been
and
bad.
he threw for 131 yards. I had all these loads of them. It can come up 131 yards today. So, but do I think it's a sophomore slump and he's going to bounce back? I think he's still the best of the bunch in the three. I still think Bryce Young could be the second. He showed me a little more this year. I still don't like Anthony Richardson. I think he's a stellar athlete, but I mean they're all going to be around for a decade. It's just a matter of what they're all going to be starting in the next 2 years, right? Because they're cheap and they're affordable and they're not that bad. They're not Will Levis bad that they're gonna they haven't had those crap games. Like Bryce Young was bad, but I still think he came back. Like after he said he's played better, and today he just hit a buzzsaw. And that's one game, not since he's been back, he's been playing really like. I mean, he still threw for 219 yards. So before he was throwing for like 50. So I
Yeah.
mean, I just think I think I thought at the beginning of the season Panthers are going somewhere, and I think they will. I mean, I'm more sad that Chuba pooped the bed today. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean Stroud's right up there with Jonathan Taylor as being one of the more disappointing players in the
mhm.
league. I mean, you're talking top five guy last year, and everybody thought that's where the offense hasn't changed. The offense, the kind of maybe it's not gotten better. I mean, they got a better running back. They got Stephon Diggs, he got hurt and hasn't been playing, but everything's pretty much stayed the same. And just the luster of that offense is just I feel like it's completely fallen off a cliff. It's just
Uh, is it that or I mean, Joe Mixon has changed it. They're a better They're better though with Joe Mixon. So has that been the change that CJ Stroud's not been as good, but he hasn't had to throw for 400 yards because last year my boy Damian Pierce died. So he is that it? Will we find out that CJ Stroud next year is about the same, and then in 2 years when they get rid of Joe Mixon, boom, CJ Stroud is to the moon again? I don't know.
I mean,
I mean,
we'll see.
he's got the same tools. I think he just did really good. They figured him out, and I think next year he won't be Josh Allen next year, but I think he'll be still in decent place next year.
So will you be drafting him as a top 12 guy, or are you going to hold off a little bit?
Next year? Heck yeah, because he'll
Yeah.
probably be a sixth, seventh round quarterback, so I can draft him. Like I think he's going to drop in the rankings. I mean, he's not a running quarterback, so I could. He's a guy that I could end up drafting because he'll be a little later in the draft, in redrafts. Like I would love the other guys, but this is like I'd rather have skill positions, especially in one quarter. And two quarterbacks is just whatever warm body falls to you, you got to draft. That's the honest truth there.
Yeah. I wide receiver question. A couple wide receiver questions. Brian Thomas, another stellar day. I feel like this guy's
My
almost
boy.
this quarterback proof, right? I mean, he plays good with Trevor Lawrence. He plays good with Mac Jones is in there, making Mac Jones look good. I mean, I feel like anybody, whoever is in there, I mean, he can be the man. Um, so I got a question. You got your guy Puka Nakua. Puka's 23. Brian Thomas is 22. Both of them very productive so far early in their careers. Which one of these guys would you take first? I mean, I know you're a Puka guy,
Oh, it's
but
it's
Brian
still
Thomas has
Puka.
been murdering it.
Yeah, I would take. I mean, they're gonna be close. I mean, if I'm drafting, it's probably Brian Thomas because he'll be a little later. If I'm choosing, it's Puka because of he's got another year in the game. So next year, you like dynasty. I love Brian Thomas's size. I mean, he's looked good, but Puka's when he plays, has he had what one bad game maybe this year? Brian Thomas had a couple, but it's a rookie year. But Puka's rookie year was killer. The only bad game I think he had was that game where Cooper came back and Stafford peppered him that game. Otherwise, he just kept killing it. So I just think Puka's head's in there, and he's gonna. Uh, it's still Puka for me. It's
Yeah.
closer. Brian Thomas, I told you preseason was I love the size and speed of this guy.
So
Apparently,
are you taking Brian Thomas over Garrett Wilson at this point?
oh yeah, yeah. Garrett Wilson played well today, though. I mean, he didn't, but yeah, I mean, he did well. But 56 yards touch. But he's yes, he's fall. I wasn't as high on him though as you.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
would you? What about you? Like you're a Garrett Wilson guy. I'm not a huge Garrett Wilson guy.
I think it's close. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm a little more confident with Brian Thomas. He's no matter who his quarterback's been, he's been productive. I mean, Garrett Wilson has been in and out of the picture all year. The addition of Devontae Adams really hasn't helped. At
Especially
least,
today. Woo!
yeah, I mean, at least Garrett Wilson had Aaron Rodgers all year. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been good, but he really hasn't been productive. I mean, he's still a top 10 wide receiver. But I don't. I mean, I think it's really close. I think I might still stick with Wilson, but I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to go Brian Thomas. He's surprised me a little bit. I didn't think he was going to be this good, but he's been spectacular. So kudos to him. So on the other end of the spectrum, a receiver that's probably at the end of his career, Debo. Would you say
Oh, I mean, Debo was he 30, 29? He's not that old, is he?
28? I think it's 28.
28, yeah. I mean, he's still got real depends if he learns to change his game. Like problem is he's like a running back, right? He's been crap. So if that's where you're going at, yes, he's been terrible.
Do you think he can bounce back? I mean, is it possible?
Is Debo a 49er next year? Doesn't his
I mean,
contract?
honestly, I would say they probably try to trade him. I mean, if this is the kind of production that you're going to be getting, is he worth keeping? Paying him that much money for this kind of production?
So it looks like he's if someone wants to take one, he's got a big hit next year. That's what I was going to double check. So in 2025, he has a 31 million dead cap thing. So 15 million cap hit. So they pretty much got to play him next year unless someone takes it or they do restructure or something. But yeah, he signed that big money deal. So I would love to see him go somewhere like Buffalo, I think that would change his career. Go and put him with Mahomes, put him with one of those really good quarterbacks where it's not because the 49ers are such a good system. And he was part of that, but I think he needs to reinvent himself because I don't know, he seems a shell of himself this year, and I don't know, I don't think it's because he's 28. I mean, he'll be 29 in January, so he still has probably 3 years of being a receiver. I don't think so. I just think he'll be. I think he needs to change the scenery, which I don't think he'll get. No one's gonna take that contract, and the 49ers aren't gonna have 31 million in dead cap. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but 49ers, I feel like the 49ers about to think they 49ers maybe reset as a team. Think it's time for them to.
Do they have to though? I mean, what's they got to figure out what's not working. Ayuk's been out all year, and they paid
Nothing's
him
working at the moment.
nothing. I mean, unless you're a running back. I mean, realistically, I mean they're plugging and playing, just knock 'em, sock 'em robots or whatever. But Garendo, he was hurt and he had an okay game, not a fantasy great game. You put another more. I mean, Mason will come back. I mean, the running back system will be pretty good. They could probably trade one of them for a receiver. Kittle's killing it. He'll be 32 next year. I don't think it's a reboot. I think it's just a restock kind of deal. Like they got to fill a couple holes, which in the NFL free agency you can do that, especially with Shanahan having the name he has. People will come there.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think they move on from him. Honestly, I think they find a way to
If they
get him out of
can,
there.
I just
They
don't think they
can.
can.
I mean, you can. These days, I feel like you can if
Russell
you really
Wilson.
want to. If you really want to, you can. So, tight end question.
Yes.
Was this the worst tight end week that there's been in a long time? It was just absolutely. I don't want to say dreadful, but I mean,
Wait,
it just really wasn't. There's really nobody you could count on it
11
this week.
receptions for 73 yards. You don't like that? That's a stellar tight end day for Brenton
I'm not
Strange.
saying there. I'm not saying there wasn't good games, but were you starting Britton Strange?
We almost did for the fantasy turf wars because we had Evan Ingram, but I started Smart instead, and that was stupid. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like Mark Andrews got his touchdown right. We're recording this before maybe Tucker Kraft will probably change the world for us, or but Kyle Pitts will probably have 1,000 yards if you're listening to this later on.
I
He'll
know.
do something he never does because he sucks. But yeah, it was a good thing that happened because we were against Trey McBride. So, but yeah, no, it's. I mean, and Trey McBride's about 87 yards. So, there was. It's been. But tight ends this year, they've been not.
Yeah.
I mean, even like freaking Kelsey's getting snaked every week by Noah Gray. He's got a touchdown vulture over there, so that's really killing him. So it's. I mean, also we are recording before Bowers played, so
This is true.
there's a couple guys. But yeah, I don't say it's the worst because it's been pretty bad. But I mean, they're getting their looks, they're getting their touches. It's just not culminating.
This has just been a bunch of crap, if you ask me. All right, there you go, buddy. All you.
I was just excited. Spencer Rattler's back on our radar. Just so everybody keep an eye on him as we're going in.
Yeah, don't keep an eye on him. Garbage.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
Okay, here we go. Actually, there were not a ton, to be honest. There was a handful, but hey, let me just point out 49ers and Rams. Oh, wait, you just wrecked fantasy team. So you were a surefire waste of a start this week. Anybody on the Rams, congratulations. Cooper Cup, thank you for helping me do nothing. I hope next week you bounce back because on my champion team, I need that. But I just got obliterated by my brother-in-law today. Like he had everybody that was good. I had everybody that was bad. But yeah, those two teams. Holy man, was that the worst? Is that the worst Thursday game? I hate Thursday games. Was that the worst one this year?
It was pretty bad. Yeah, I mean,
Unless
it
you're in
was.
an all kicker league, there are. I
Yeah,
saw somewhere there is an all kicker league or something. It was an all kicker league, I believe. I was like, it's terrible.
yeah. I mean, definitely not one of the better games. I will say that.
It was miserable. So here we go. 2-yard touchdown run for the New York Football Giants. Tyrone. Oh, we're in the playoffs now, so I can make these even deeper. No one in the playoffs should be starting Devin Singletary. Am I correct in that? In the playoffs.
Yeah, you're probably correct. If you're starting Devin Singletary, you're struggling, and
But
you're
you did
probably
get
not
a.
standing a very good chance.
You sure did get a surefire.
Well, yeah, waste of a touchdown there, but I mean, that's not really what you're hoping for, though.
Here's a twofer. Spencer Rattler threw a touchdown to Foster Moreau for the New Orleans Saints, who almost knocked off the Manders. Like, I'm curious what overtime would look like, but I liked the brazenness to be like, hey, we're just not going to go to overtime. We don't want anybody to get hurt. Let's just get 2 points or not get 2 points. So, but yeah, that was a brazen end. Good ending there. Maybe he turns it around. Who knows? He looked flat last time he played. I was excited, but that is definitely a
Surefire waste of a touchdown. Foster Moreau's he was one of those guys that everybody wants to be good, but he's just never just fully broken through.
That's the cancer story helps, and he came in with that Island of Foster Moreau kind of thing. But the cancer story makes it like, yeah, let's root for him. Sam Hubbard. Can you tell me what position Sam Hubbard plays? I looked it up.
I know it's a lineman because he's got a really high number.
Defensive end.
Defensive end. I knew it was I knew it was like number 94 or something. It's crazy. So I knew he wasn't. There's been a lot of those this year, right?
Oh, we got another one today. I forgot to look up what he was. Sam Hubbard had a catch from good old Joseph Burrow. Thank you for wasting a touchdown that could have went to Chase or Brown or Higgins or basically anybody on the planet Earth except for a defensive lineman, even a defensive end. So that makes that a
surefire waste of a touchdown. But I do got a question. Should linemen be considered as a surefire waste of a touchdown? Because they're never getting played anyway.
But the point is, they're wasting a touchdown that could have went to somebody else that was good.
I guess.
So that's what a waste of a touchdown means. It means that, we could have had points, but no, these schmucks got points. Kind of like the amazing tackle Dan Skipper, who got a 9-yard pass from Jared Goff. He is an offensive lineman. So he was sitting there, and it was funny watching him, fall into the end zone. He was like, he sort of barely rolled into the end zone before someone touched him. But that's still, yeah, it's definitely a
surefire waste of a touchdown.
Mason Rudolph. Killing it. 13-yard pass to his tight end. Oh, Josh Wow got his first touchdown this year. He was supposedly going to steal some stuff, and it took him all until week 15 to take a touchdown away from anybody. So that makes that definitely a
surefire waste of a touchdown.
When you throw 5 passes like Lamar Jackson did this week for touchdowns, you're bound to have some. I didn't use the Bateman ones. I was close because if you're playing Bateman in the playoffs, you're probably in trouble. But I did say 21-yard pass to Devontae Walker could change in the future if he takes over somebody's role. But they're a little deeper in receiver. No one super top tier like Flowers, you would say, but yeah, for now, Devontae Walker 21-yard pass from Lamar Jackson would be a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I feel like they got like a different wide receiver every week catching a touchdown.
Well,
just
when
random.
5 people, I mean, it was 2 to Bateman, 1 to Justice Hill, 1 to Walker, and 1 to Andrews this week. It's like, shh. Okay, I just want to not just put your boy up here. 13-yard pass from my boy. So this is a DJ Dub to JJ Wang connection. Bo Nix hits Adam Troutman. He's had a couple, so I just put him in there because you love him so much, and we can mention him. But no one's starting this dude. Is he going to be their tight end 1? You think? Endorsed?
I mean, it's a surefire waste of a touchdown, but I mean, he's has opportunities. I mean, there's nobody else really there grabbing the by the horns. I don't know how to
the bull
say
by
that.
the horns. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there you go, grabbing the bull by the horns. So I mean, he stands just as much chance as anybody else in that offense, I guess.
But what about Nate Adkins? Could he be the guy with a 15-yard pass from Bo Nix? He's a tight end that I've never heard of on the planet Earth. Like, I might have heard of Sam Hubbard before, but I've never heard of Nate Adkins. He looks like a fullback, to be honest. If you look at the build of him, he's a Gamecock. I just looked him up, but Bo Nix is trying to give us tons of these. As the Broncos, I think they sealed their playoffs today. But anyway, that would be our last
surefire waste of a touchdown.
There you go, JJ Wang. That's all I got. Now, the next week, I got to get ready. Next week's the quarterfinals. I got my super teams playing, so they'll probably all lose, and I'll be more angry than I am today.
Yeah, so things have changed in the Bourbon League. I'm going to need a really, really bad game from Bijan Robinson here. I'm only up 7 points.
No, dude, I needed you.
I put up 169. I really can't do much more than that. Gave it a solid effort, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. But I just got one question for you regarding your Miami Dolphins. How much longer does Josh McDaniels have a job? This guy could not beat a winning team.
I hate to say, I wouldn't, but I think heads are rolling. I mean that on the Dolphins. Wait a second. On the Dolphins, we're using the wrong name. I got
Not
my
Josh McDaniels, Mike McDaniels.
Mike. I'm losing my mind. I was like,
Yeah,
Josh,
my
that's the
bad.
wrong.
My
Um,
bad.
I was like, wait a second. It's been a long week, but I'm hearing a lot of rumblings. I'm hoping that they give him a year so he can figure it out. Like, would the coach role before the GM, who's been there for a good while, and I blame McDaniel because the offense. If you watch the offensive play calling, Tua's getting smarter until today. It was. I mean, the Texans have the most interceptions in the league, but Tua had like 200 passes without a touchdown. I mean, without an interception rather. But he's had to adapt because it used to be over the top, but everybody's putting a shell on the top, so they can't. So he's had his passes are shorter. He's more efficient, but the calls are just so bland. So it falls on McDaniel's, and Stephen Ross likes to pull it, but who who's the new hotness that you're gonna are we gonna I mean, unless we get the Detroit guys,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean, like I said, I don't know. So I mean, it sounds like you're on the train of maybe hiring somebody new, getting rid of him.
Uh, not I mean, it's only been 3 years. I still think coaches need a little more cycle. Like I think let him finish the Tua contract 'cause I think
All
they're
right.
linked. But I think he's to be if you ask me to bet today, I'd say there's a 70% chance I bet you he gets fired because they're missing. They need literally an act of God to make the playoffs. They got to win
Yeah.
out. I think two teams got to like lose out, and there's like 30 like they blew it because yeah.
All right. There you go. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.